Bright Horizons with
Deb, Jim,
and
we
Virginia.
have Virginia with us.
Hi, morning.
This
We're
is Virginia
thrilled to have
Spencer.
Virginia with us. Virginia Spencer is with us from Illustrated Properties.
Yes, and I've known Virginia since the middle 1980s, or probably the early 1980s.
Yeah.
Do you remember we met?
Yeah.
We were both on the North Palm Beach Beautification Committee.
See?
This is a town in Florida called North Palm Beach, and they were installing a median strip with landscaping and just to make it look nice. And I volunteered as the president of the North Palm Beach Gardens JCs, and Virginia was on the committee, and it was so wonderful meeting you at that time. And you worked at a different real estate
Yes,
office
yes,
in North
uh-huh.
Palm Beach at the time. But that just shows Virginia's character and the time that she volunteers for so many wonderful causes. That's
Thank
what,
you.
you know,
Thank you.
we, well, I view you as being an angel, one of the angels that God has on earth.
Yes.
Because when all of you hear all of the things that Virginia has done in her
It's
lifetime, I don't know
incredible.
when you sleep, Virginia.
I've often said that too, haven't I?
Besides
Virginia, how
all
do
that
you
she's
do
done,
it?
being
Right.
a mother and a wife, you know,
Right.
and then accomplishing all of these charitable, and being the general manager of Illustrated Properties.
Yeah.
How many agents are there now that you manage?
Around 600.
Yes, imagine 600 real estate agents.
That's all.
Virginia and I have contact almost every day because we often speak about issues that might arise. But imagine managing 600 people. I mean, it's just
And I've
remarkable.
got to say one thing. Whenever I call to speak with you, you're always there. I don't
Yes.
care how busy you are, and that's why I love you, and everybody loves you as much as we do. You take the time, you make the time, and I can hear in your voice, "Hi," and all of a sudden I can hear, "Oh yeah, well, because I know that there's something going on, but you're very cheerful." And you always make that time, and for that, you're even more special to us because
Thank
you have
you.
a lot on your
And,
plate.
Thank you.
and your compassion.
And we're
Virginia.
thrilled, and the compassion is amazing. I mean, if
But what I laugh about is whenever there's a full moon, Virginia and I joke around.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to get more calls, and it happens, right?
Yes, it does.
Murphy's
amazing.
Law, yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
Or when it's a hectic time, we'll say, "Is it a full moon?" You know,
Yeah.
because it invariably is. It's funny how that effect it has on people.
And it's true, it does really and truly happen.
We did have a few birthdays we wanted to acknowledge before we start. Um, Patricia LeDuc, who we all
Yes,
know, is
Patricia,
her birthday
happy
is tomorrow.
birthday.
And my nephew, Michael Connor, Dr. Michael Connor, is coming up next week on the 9th.
Michael, happy
Yeah.
birthday.
He's an oculoplastic surgeon and Jean Marie's husband, and we're so proud
Yes,
of Mike
happy
and
birthday,
wish him happy
Michael.
birthday. And Kathy Beaton is next
Yeah.
week.
Kathy
Yeah.
Beaton, happy birthday.
Yes. And then
Boy.
just two friends of mine who just had birthdays the other day. Gus Melander, happy birthday, Gus.
Happy bus.
And Ron Roberts, all the way in the UK in England.
Oh,
happy
wow.
birthday,
Ron
Ron.
Roberts, happy birthday.
Ooh.
Happy birthday, everyone. And
you have any?
Yolanda Hambray has a birthday coming
Okay,
up
Yolanda,
as well
happy birthday.
as Sherry Klinger Zeller has a birthday.
Happy birthday.
So,
Should we
happy
sing a
happy
little
birthday.
happy birthday? Happy
You know how that
birthday.
goes. Happy
birthday
birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all of you. Happy birthday to you.
Mwah. And many more. And don't forget, celebrate throughout the month. I know it's a fun thing to do. Just
Yes,
don't
it's a
make
month
your
of
birthday
celebration.
the day of your day. Make it all month long and remember to do so. Every day is special.
Yeah, because you're special.
That's right.
So, Virginia, tell us, where were you born?
In Kansas City, Missouri.
I
And
just
I was-
found that out yesterday, and I've known you for
And I love
16
Kansas City,
years.
Missouri. It's a beautiful city.
Yeah, and I was watching today. They were interviewing everybody in Lenexa, everybody's cheering for the Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
I'm so
All right.
happy. I love it. What a
Go
game.
Mahomes.
Go. I'm not one to make a big to-do, but you and I were talking. That's why I found
Yeah.
out you were from Kansas City. Go, Chiefs, go.
I was there
Great
once for a
game.
conference. It's a beautiful city.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And we stayed along the plaza.
Oh, that's
yeah,
that's
yeah,
beautiful there.
breathtaking. So, at what age did you leave Kansas City?
I left Kansas City when I was about 20. So I had was in college and working at the time. And my family, we had vacationed a lot in Tampa, Florida. That's where my dad grew up.
Oh,
And so we were going back and forth. And then my family decided just to move down to
To
Tampa.
Tampa, wow.
Permanently.
that takes a lot of guts to just uproot yourselves and move to a new
Yeah,
sure.
location like that.
Sure.
And that's probably where you met Perry.
I did. I
In
did.
Tampa. Oh, okay.
Virginia's wonderful husband Perry, who we all know, and it's been a beautiful marriage. How many years now?
Uh, 54.
Wow,
God
54
bless.
years.
That's wonderful.
What a beautiful example
Yeah.
for all of us to see a loving couple like they
54
are.
years.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes. How did you
Amazing.
meet?
I was working, going to college. He was doing the same, going to college and working. And I had a sorority meeting in downtown Tampa. And as usual, I was sort of like running a little late. And I pulled in there, and he worked as a valet. And he had known I was coming all the time. And he put a sign out, said that, sorry, the lot's full. And I got scared. I thought, where am I going to park my car? And then he came up and he goes, well, you know, if you'd go out with me, your car could get parked.
Oh,
I
how
what a
romantic.
What a great love story.
boy,
Look
he
at
must have
it.
been mesmerized by you. Imagine to take
you
all those
go out
steps.
with
And it's been a beautiful love story
Yeah.
ever since.
Wow. I love hearing great stories like that. That's nice.
You know, it's beautiful
Very
when you're in the
nice.
presence of people that are in love, especially for that length of time, like even with Deb and Greg,
Yeah.
to be with them. And it's just so inspiring, and to feel that
Yeah,
love, you
thank
feel the
you.
love that,
Yeah.
you know,
In
between
fact,
them.
I love him more too than I ever have.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful relationship. Thank God for it.
And then what well, so what
And
did you?
also, you're recently engaged, Mr.
Yes,
Jim
yes,
Chiaffi over
yes,
here,
it's beautiful.
which we're
Yeah.
delighted and thrilled
Especially
for you.
at my stage of my life, to find another love is
What do you
just
mean your
amazing.
stage
Yeah.
of your life?
Well, the latter part
You're
of your
growing
life.
up. You're growing up. Never mind that.
Just started.
Don't
Just started.
listen. Just don't listen. Don't listen what Jim just said. He's growing up. We're all growing up. I don't like this stage of life. Just never mind that.
So what was your career initially after college?
Well, right before I moved to Florida, I was working. Well, in college, I wanted to be an architect.
Wow.
So, and I was going to the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and I worked for AT&T in their long lines division in the drafting department. So I did a lot of the things for the engineering department and all.
Wow,
So,
architecture.
and then when we moved to Florida, I got a job for an engineering company, and I did electrical drafting and all that for them.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so
Interesting.
So
Okay.
that's very technical and detailed. Yes, wow.
But you liked all that. That's what you
I
really
did,
wanted
yeah,
to do.
yeah.
Wow. I
Which
could,
actually blends well with your real estate career,
Right.
because you have a whole
Yes,
different
yes.
perspective on
Right.
the construction and
Right.
the design of homes. So that's very interesting. Then what led you to real estate, a career in real estate?
Well, I was married and moved over to Palm Beach Gardens, and I had both my girls, and we were home. And so a friend of mine said, "Let's go get our real estate license." And I said, "Why?" And she goes like, "Well, because it gets us. We can get a babysitter. We can get out of the house, and we can go do something." And we had to go to the Lake Worth campus of Palm Beach State College to get it at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, so
At that
that's
time,
that's
wow.
when I started doing it.
And the rest is history. Imagine. Oh my God, what a
Right.
beautiful, wonderful
Yeah.
career you've had.
Yeah.
You know what's beautiful is that the lives that Virginia has touched through her career, because she really helps, she mentors people, which I'd like to speak about next, is your whole participation in the Executive Women of the Palm Beaches. It's a wonderful organization that helps mentor women in careers. And how did you become involved in that?
Well, at the time, my career had led me to, I was then the broker for investment equity. And so it was like 1997, and my dear friend Nancy Goldman,
Oh, yes.
yes, who was president that year,
Oh.
and I was friends with her, and she goes, right before that, my other friend I had gone through leadership Palm Beach County, and I didn't want to do both of those things at the same time, so I finished up leadership Palm Beach County, and then Nancy said, "You have to join." So I joined that year, and it's really been wonderful.
Isn't that interesting when you look back on your life? Certain people have influences on you, and for Nancy to say
yes.
that, directing you, but
Right.
it was perfect for you because you are a woman, and
Right.
and you want to help other women achieve their goals. And you know, we all know that
Right,
unfortunately, our society was structured so it was more difficult for women, especially back, we're thinking in the 50s and 60s. They were home oriented with the children. And it was harder for them to have a career. But you really celebrate women
Right.
and their careers. It's just so beautiful.
E-
Plus, in Illustrated Properties, there are a lot of women who she's helped mentor.
Yes.
Right.
But also, I'd like you to mention about the scholarships that the Executive Women provides.
Every year we have our big fundraiser, which is our Women in Leadership Luncheon.
And I
which-
attend that every year.
Yes, and that's going to be in April this year. And from that, the proceeds we give out, last year we gave out, I think, almost $30,000 in scholarships. And we've been doing
Wow.
this like almost every year, so it's way up there in the amounts we've
Yes.
given out.
Yes. and think of the lives that they're affecting, these young women that need a little bit of financial assistance, and they receive it from such a wonderful organization. And then sometimes those women, they have the slide presentation showing us some of the candidates, and then they have awards that you also give to
Right,
women that have
right.
recognition
Right.
in different categories, like private sector, public sector. Was it the charitable organizations? I
Yeah,
forget
they
the
have,
different
like,
sectors.
volunteer.
Yeah, volunteer.
Right.
Which is wonderful. Once again, celebrating the achievements of women. I just love that luncheon every
Yeah.
year. And they always have inspiring speakers too.
Yeah.
You have to come sometime,
Yeah.
Deb. I mean, we've had some
I was at the
outstanding
Girl
speakers.
Scouts over the Kravis Center,
Yes.
Yeah.
which was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun, and you get to meet so many wonderful
Yeah.
people. I got this big wicker basket of wine. I got home, my husband's like, "Oh, do you plan on drinking?" I said, "I guess so." It was a wonderful time.
Which is interesting you mentioned that because Girl Scouts was also one of the areas that Virginia focused on. Let's
Yes,
talk about a little
yes,
about Girl
okay.
Scouts.
All right.
When, were you a Girl Scout initially?
Yes, my mother was the leader up in Kansas City.
Wow.
So, and I was a Girl Scout then. And then when I came to Florida, and then I had my girls, it just seemed automatically that. So I was a troop leader for Brownies for both of them. And then later on, when I was working for the investment equity where I was a broker, someone called me and said, could I be on the board of Girl Scouts? And I hadn't even thought about that in years. So I said, yes, I would be happy to. Because my oldest daughter had been on so many, like 3 wider opportunities, which they send the girls out in the summertime to go to and they pay for, that I thought it was time to give back.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And
Very
now that I
nice.
think about this, Girl Scouts, it's a wonderful way to mold a child, Boy Scouts and
Right,
Girl
yeah.
Scouts, because so much of it is altruism and giving back and things that you do for the community and for others.
right.
You know, it's not just developing the girl or the boy,
Right.
but and I always admire you because of you're always thinking and giving, and I think it started at an early age with you, obviously, because
Right.
it's part of you. So it's the influence of your parents, and then I think Girl Scouts
Right,
probably played a
right.
real central role in your life.
Right.
Were you a Girl Scout or a Brownie?
I was a Brownie and a Girl Scout, and like Virginia, my mom was a troop leader. My
Ah,
brother, all my sisters, same thing. She was so instrumental in everything that we did, and I loved. I reflect back, I would love to be a Brownie again and a Girl Scout. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And all the trips that we went on, and just fun. I mean, just wow,
yeah.
what a great.
You know what's
contribution.
amazing is when you talk to a whole group of women in a auditorium or wherever, and you say how many women here were either a Brownie or a Girl Scout. It's amazing how many of them raise their hand, and a lot of them have said that things that they worked on for their badges, you know, they never would led them to the careers that they are in now.
Yeah.
That's interesting. 'Cause
And getting
I-
that badge was so exciting. And wearing it was so proud.
Right.
And the cap, the beanie, remember the brown
Right.
cap, the beanie cap?
Right.
Oh, fun. Great
Yeah,
times.
they didn't have Boy Scouts and what are the boys called before Boy Scouts? There's another organization. But anyway, they didn't have that in my area where I grew up, so I never had that
Yeah,
benefit.
yeah.
But I always would admire, like I said, the people that I've heard of who've had that experience because when you're talking about the badges, you
Yeah.
know, those are achievements, as you all know, achievements for the young
Sure,
children
right.
to be able to feel, wow, I've accomplished something. And it just builds and builds and builds, and then I love the altruism
Right.
too, the giving.
And taking a group
Yeah.
of children. My mother would take all of my, I'll never forget being the Boy Scout, or Cub Scout, maybe you're thinking?
Cub
of?
Scouts,
yeah,
Cub
Cub
Scout,
Scouts,
there you
yeah.
go. So she would take all of my brother and she'd bring them to the apartment and take Clorox bottles and make them into pigs as a piggy bank. All these
Oh, yes.
innovative, I mean, just
Right.
wonderful creativity.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, just and just you learn and you grow and you mold. So especially if it's your mom. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could just, I speak with you. I think,
Yeah.
wow, it's just
I think that's beautiful when you think about that, how that organization has
it's
built
something you'll always
America. You
remember.
know, the United
Yes,
States,
yes.
when you think of how many altruistic people there are, I think a lot of it stems from those experiences as children. Because
It does.
we're the most giving country on earth.
Right.
You know,
It does.
all the charitable contributions and physically what people do, and giving of their time. It's just remarkable, and I guess we're blessed to say we lived in the United States and we're part of
Yes.
that.
Yes,
you know,
we are.
It's just wonderful. And then you've received awards from the Girl Scouts, I know, right?
Yes, I was lucky enough to receive the highest award for them, and I got that a couple of years ago, and that was really a nice honor. And this year, I'm the chair again of the Emerald Awards
Oh,
luncheon, which that's going to be on May 19th. So we're busy. Everybody's busy working on that right now.
yes. It's just, I don't know. My heart just fills with joy when I hear about these things that you do, because the community really benefits from so many of these aspects of it. And then you were also instrumental, when you first moved to North Palm Beach, with the Candy Stripers in Palm Beach Gardens Hospital.
Yes, you're right.
How
We
did
s-
that come about?
So when I moved over to this from the Tampa area to Palm Beach, well, actually it was North Palm Beach at the time. Then somebody invited me. I joined Junior Women's Club.
Oh, okay.
So that was a big organization at the time, and it was all these women under 40 in the area. And at the time, no one worked. Everybody was at home
Right.
doing
Children.
and so we did a lot of things with kids. And we all came up with the idea that the hospital needed the candy stripe. So we started that, and we all took turns going over there. And
Now, I
doing
don't know
that.
if they still have Candy Stripers. You don't hear about that. But explain again what that was. Those are volunteers, right?
Yeah, in the hospital. Yeah,
They're
we have a little
children?
uniform. No, we did other things with the help the
Okay.
nurses.
With the
and
red
Okay.
and white stripes,
Yeah.
right, with the little hat.
We have a
even.
little, like,
Yeah.
apron on
Right.
that we wore.
Right.
Right.
Which is beautiful. I don't think it exists anymore because I don't really see
Yeah.
it. But
No.
what a wonderful
Candy stripes.
way to help with people that are sick, because so many people that are in hospitals, as we all know, fortunately I have very limited experience myself in hospitals, but when you visit people, the loneliness, and they're fearful, and to have someone come along with that bright smile,
right,
and
that's right.
just it just lightens your whole spirit. So God bless you, and thank
Thank
you for doing that.
Thank you.
And then you also help raise money for the exercise trail on Burns Road.
Yes, we did
Physical
that.
activity?
We raised money for that. We
Yeah.
did that, and we also were instrumental. The original library in North Palm Beach was up at the old house that was by the pool in North
Okay.
Palm Beach. So they had the big old
Oh.
home up there.
Right.
So we decided we wanted a library in North Palm Beach because there was lots of young kids at that age. So we got a hold of our representative at that time, and he helped us, and we got the money to the library that's where it is
Currently
now in
exists,
North Palm Beach.
which is one of the
We got that.
nicest community libraries that you could
Yeah.
ever see. I lived in North Palm Beach for a short time when I first moved here, and I loved that library. So thank you for your
Yeah.
efforts in establishing it. The resources there, it's just amazing for a small community
Right.
to have all. And then I was on the fundraising committee for that library. Friends of the North Palm Beach Library, it was called at the time. There was a gentleman who I knew, and once again, he said, "Would you like to help?"
Right,
It's funny
right.
how people will ask you. And
Right.
if you are asked, you should really fulfill that, and that's probably the Lord directing you
Right.
to do something like that,
Right, right.
because you can't always think of these things on your own.
Right.
So it's very
So
interesting how
true,
people will
so
ask you to
true.
do that. Just wonderful. And then, so the Junior Women's Club is till age 40,
Right,
I see, okay.
right.
Because I know the Junior League also was an organization my sister belonged to, which was
Right.
similar to the
Yes.
Junior Women's Club. And it just, once again, helping young women develop. And then what I also wanted to highlight was Virginia was instrumental in charities for illustrated properties. So much so that they've established the Virginia Spencer Award that they present each year. But could you tell us a little bit about Illustrated Properties Charities, how that developed?
Well, our founders of our company, Bud and Chappie Adams, they knew that I was involved with all these things at the time with Junior Women's Club, and then I guess probably with Executive Women and everything I was doing. And so they just surprised me. We have an awards ceremony. We had it in January or early February that year, and it was out at Ibis, and they all of a sudden they called me up and they said, "We're establishing this in your honor."
It's
So
wonderful.
that's how it happened.
Yes, yes.
What a feeling that was. for
Yeah,
you, huh?
I was like really
Very well
shocked.
deserved. Very well deserved.
And then they established a 501c3 charitable
Right.
organization.
Right
So
after that,
tell them
right.
how you coordinate that, because I know every month, don't you highlight certain agents who have charitable activities?
Right.
Yeah.
So we have our Illustrated Properties Charities. It's a 501(c), and the money that we receive from that is from our agents. Like a lot of agents will donate like $100 from each closing, or some
Oh,
agents have done
beautiful.
a percentage
Right.
of that check to go into the charity.
Oh, beautiful.
And then what we do is we try to raise other funds, like we have a bartending event. We have that in August, and
That's always fun.
that money for the last.
Celebrity bartenders
Yeah.
competing with each other, right?
Yeah, it's fun. Everybody looks forward to that. And so that money for the last 3 years has gone to Live Like Jake for their pool. So they finally got a pool to train the babies so that they don't drown. So they have that, and it's really something for people to look into. They
Yeah.
have a small child to make sure that they're trained.
Yeah, it's called the Live Like Jake, Jake, Jake Foundation, founded by two marvelous people who unfortunately lost their son. He drowned, Jake. But it's a wonderful organization, and I forget her name, the mother, is actually they have swimming instructors there who will help children learn how to swim, which is wonderful
Yes,
to start
right,
at an early
Right,
age.
right.
But also with Illustrated Properties Charities, you recognize an
Yes.
agent each month.
Every month we
Yeah.
recognize an agent that has been active. Sometimes it's several we have to recognize, you know,
Right.
but that are out in the community doing things, chairing things, and all like that. And it's just amazing when you start talking to people. The people who are doing this are really kind of quiet, you know, like they don't go out and tell you about it. So you
Right.
have to kind of dig for like some of the stuff, and then you find out all the wonderful things they're doing.
And it's just, I think it's great that that organization exists and encourages the agents to participate. You know,
Right.
it's a beautiful way to give back. And then the bicycles at the end of the year, I
Yeah.
know that's a love of yours. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I was trying to get the agents to do things that like more together, and so I set up to have a golf tournament, and we ended up after the golf tournament we had all this extra money, and it happened to be 20 years ago. So I just said, well, let's buy the bicycles for the Toys for Tots. So now we've been doing that now. This last November was our 20th year, and we've been raised. Some years we do more than 20 bikes, like we've gone up to 120 depending on the money. But we've been giving out 100 bikes every year.
Isn't that remarkable?
Yeah,
100
and
bikes
Chris-
to children in the area. It's just beautiful.
And the helmets. We have
And the
to do
helmets.
yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
the
Yeah,
helmets.
course.
That it just
Yeah.
touches your heart when you hear that. Another thing I wanted to mention was you were on the founding committee for the Nell Smith Home for Girls. Tell us a
Right.
little bit about that too.
So that's when I was in Junior Women's Club, and I was the president of that organization, and we found a need for that. I think Nell Smith, she was a very well-known lady in West Palm Beach, and I believe her son was either an attorney or a judge. I'm
Ah,
not sure
Okay.
at the time. And somehow we met them, and we found this need. There was for girls who are like several girls, they were just displaced. They were not delinquent. They were not anywhere, and they had no place to go. So they were kind of homeless. So we set that up, and we had house parents, and it
Beautiful.
started down in West Palm Beach on Olive. There was a big old house down
I
there,
remember that.
and they would take in about 8 or 10 girls with the house parents, and they would help them get through high school and graduate.
Beautiful transition period. You know, you imagine there are children, unfortunately, that do become displaced. I know in my family years and years ago, before I was born, one of my aunts passed away, and they had 4 children, and the father couldn't really, at the time, take care of them. But luckily, the other relatives
Right.
took care of their nieces and nephews. But that's not always the case. And here, these girls needed something, and it was beautiful that you found the
Right.
need and
Right.
and you helped fulfill that need. It's just beautiful. It just touches our hearts.
There's so many needs out there, but
Yes.
you know what? We have our Virginia Spencer, we have our Jim Chiappi. Everybody is so important in your life. When you think about it, like you said, they're women who are quiet people that do good. They just don't say too much. But we're so lucky and so blessed
Yeah.
to have that. We really are.
Then there's a other host of charities that you've helped support, and I just wanted to mention a few. Adopt a Family for the Holidays. You know, that's another one because there are people that don't have the financial ability
That's right.
to give their children gifts. Can you tell us a little bit about that organization?
Well, that was something else we did also through when I was in Junior Women's Club.
Oh, okay.
We did that one.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. And then all these organizations around have benefited. What Thelma Pittman playground equipment. That school I know is very. Judy Sexton and Pam Hutchinson have a special place in their hearts for that school.
Yes.
So
right.
it's wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about that one also?
So, because of Judy Sexton and Pam being very involved with that, we decided that they needed playground equipment up at the school. And the school was established up in Jupiter like 20, 25 years ago. They now have like second generation children going through this school that is helping some of the families
That's
up in the
terrific.
Jupiter area. So that was one of our bartending events, which it took us about 3 years to raise the money, but we raised almost, I think, almost 15,000.
Wow,
So
that's
it might could have been
terrific.
longer than 3 years, but we kept putting the money to it. We got all the playground equipment, and then we just recently they needed that playground with the mulch, so we just sent them up a check, so they did the whole playground in mulch for the kids.
Wow. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Who would you say your role models were growing up?
Oh, I guess probably the closest I would be was probably be my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
since she volunteered as a leader.
right.
That's beautiful, yeah. And until what age did she live?
She was 84.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
yeah, she lives a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's wonderful you have these examples. Like I know my father and my parents touched my lives. Deb's parents, we often talk about, touched their
Absolutely,
lives.
Absolutely.
Did your father live to a good age
Yes,
also?
he was 90.
Wow,
Yeah.
terrific.
Yeah.
And they stayed in Tampa so too?
No. They ended up moving back to Kansas City.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, really? What
Yeah.
happened that they moved back?
Well, they just decided they missed their family because
Oh, okay.
my dad was the oldest of 10. My mother was one of 8.
Wow.
So I had lots
Big
of
family. Wow. Yeah.
cousins and everybody in Kansas City. Yeah.
That's a big family, 10 and
Yeah.
8. Wow, 18 siblings.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun fun times with the family. Did you want to ask anything, Deb?
You're covering everything. I
Yeah.
love it. Absolutely.
We're referring to, I had an
Absolutely.
outline here of Virginia's highlights that we wanted to
my.
cover because there's so much.
There is.
Like I said, it's remarkable what Virginia has done in the span of her lifetime.
Yes.
And I often say, how do you sleep? Because a mother, a wife, a career, and then all these altruistic, charitable activities. It's just beautiful.
Thank you so
thank you,
much.
thank you. Yes.
Thank you for inviting me today.
Our pleasure.
Absolutely.
We've been wanting to do that
it
for
the
a while.
longest time.
Yeah.
In fact, I said to myself, there's, not to be original, but, this is how it's going. You are our sunshine, our Virginia sunshine. You make us happy each and every day.
You'll never know, Virginia, how much we love you.
Keep on smiling on each and every day. We need our Virginia, oh our
She's a good songwriter.
Virginia. I'm making this up as I go along.
You're
as
doing a
you
good
can
job.
see. But that's so true, Virginia. Actually, you are one of the reasons, the main reason why I love illustrated properties. I've learned and I've grown so much. But when I have you, and I speak, I'm sure, on behalf of so many more people, I mean, really, you make it every day worthwhile coming into the company because it's you're like my mom,
It's
my
because
second mom.
Virginia
I-
cares about
And you
about
you
people.
truly do. So I don't know what I would do if you ever left the company. So you can't. You just
I think the
can't, but
compassion is really
it's amazing. I mean, you are
what
just
people feel. Because Virginia has to solve problems, but
A
rather than just
lot.
looking at it as this way, she takes into account the feelings
Right.
and how it will affect the people involved.
And
It's
she
not just
weighs
making decisions.
everything,
Right.
which is so important. And
Right.
the one thing that I adore too is the fact that I could be. It doesn't matter. I could be in a blah mood, a happy mood. You always seem to know how to make me smile with those emails. She'll take
Yes.
the time and she'll send an email saying, just to put a smile on your face. And it's so adorable. And I wish I had, in fact, I should have printed one out, but they end up kept them all. They're wonderful.
Yeah.
So they lift you up, they brighten your days. So that's just the kind of spirit you have. And
That's a beautiful expression. Virginia lifts people up.
She does.
Which is,
She most
which is a
certainly
beautiful.
does. Yeah.
Because of your compassion and your love for people, it's just we're all the benefit of that. Beneficiaries.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I always like to read an essay or a poem from our book,
Marie Pinchmit.
Out of My Mind and Into Your Heart. And this one touched me when I was thinking about Virginia because it's entitled Giving. Okay? We never know what good we do as we give of ourselves each day. A single word, a smile, a gift can light a path, can lead the way.
I love it.
Of some soul struggling with hurts untold, of heartaches and sorrows as life unfolds, one ear to listen, one touch of a hand, often can bring solace in a merciless land. And that's just so
I love
beautiful.
it.
The giving spirit. So I mean, thank you.
Thank
Marie
you.
Pinchman,
Thank you for
we
being you,
never,
Virginia.
Ever,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
never
Thank
end
you.
our show without Marie Pinchman.
Yes.
And you know, I love Jim and I never end a show.
Without our
You know what
song.
that means? Want to sing along, Virginia?
Okay.
Okay. What a
Difference
difference a day makes.
24 little hours brought the sun and the flowers where there used to be rain. What a difference a day makes. And the difference is you and 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 you.
We love all of you. We thank you for joining us. And always, always
Keep your
your
horizons bright.
bright. Have a wonderful day. Mwah.
Yes,
And
we
so we
thank
see you
you.
again, Virginia.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes, thank you,
Love
Virginia. Thank you,
Thank you.
Virginia.
She's the best.
Yes,
Okay.
she is. And we